The security camera footage was never meant to break his heart. When Daniel Morrison, a self-made millionaire from Toronto, opened the live feed on his phone, he was only checking why the house alarm had been triggered. His 10-year-old daughter Lily was home, along with the maid he had hired 6 months ago. What he saw made his jaw tighten. The maid, Maria, was standing between Lily and the front door, her arms stretched wide as if shielding her. A man outside was shouting, pounding on the glass. Daniel's heart pounded in his ears. For a split second, anger flared inside him. Who was that man, and why was Maria involved? He rushed home faster than he ever had before. Lily wasn't like other children. After a car accident 3 years earlier that took her mother's life, she was left with partial paralysis on her left side and severe anxiety. Loud noises terrified her. Sudden movements made her freeze. Since the accident, Daniel had thrown himself into expanding his tech company across Canada, from Toronto to Vancouver, convincing himself he was building security for her future. But in doing so, he had quietly stepped away from her present. Maria had come into their lives as just another employee. She was quiet, efficient, and always gentle with Lily. Daniel had barely learned anything about her beyond her resume and references. To him, she was staff. When he reached the house, police cars were already outside. The shouting man had been taken away in handcuffs. Daniel burst through the door, panic turning into confusion when he saw Lily clinging to Maria, not crying, but shaking. "Daddy," Lily whispered, her voice fragile. "She saved me." Daniel turned to Maria, his expression hard. "What happened?" Maria looked exhausted, but steady. "He's my ex-husband," she said softly. "He's not supposed to come near me. I have a restraining order. I didn't know he'd find me here." The words hung in the air. "You brought this to my home." Daniel's voice rose despite himself. Maria lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry. I never would have put Lily in danger. When I saw him outside, I locked the doors and moved Lily away from the windows. I pressed the alarm and called 911. Lily tightened her grip on Maria's sweater. "He was yelling," she said. "I got scared, but Maria told me to breathe. She held my hand the whole time." Daniel looked at his daughter. He noticed something he hadn't seen in months. Lily wasn't looking at the floor. She wasn't dissociating like she often did during stress. She was looking up at Maria with trust. Over the next few days, Daniel learned more than he ever expected. The man outside had a history of violence. Maria had left him 2 years ago after enduring emotional and physical abuse. She had moved cities to protect herself. She had taken the job with Daniel's family because it offered stability and a safe neighborhood. "What you don't know," Lily said one evening at dinner, "is that Maria is the only one who stays with me during my therapy exercises." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" "I hired a physiotherapist." "You did," Lily replied quietly. "But you're always in meetings." "Sometimes I don't want to try. It hurts. I get angry. Maria sits with me. She tells me about her daughter back in Mexico and how she used to cheer at her soccer games. She tells me I'm strong." Daniel turned to Maria, stunned. "You never told me you had a daughter." "She lives with my sister," Maria said gently. "I send most of my salary back to support her schooling. She's 13. She wants to become a nurse." That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He walked past Lily's room and saw a small drawing taped to the wall. It showed 3 stick figures holding hands. One was labeled Daddy. One was Lily. The third was Maria. The next morning, Daniel did something he hadn't done in years. He canceled his board meeting. He asked Maria to sit with him at the kitchen table. "I misjudged you," he began, his voice heavy. "I saw an employee. I didn't see a person." Maria said nothing, but her eyes softened. "You protected my daughter like she was your own," he continued. "And I reacted with anger instead of gratitude." She shook her head. "You were afraid. Any parent would be." Daniel swallowed hard. "Lily hasn't called anyone her hero since her mother passed away." "Yesterday, she called you that." Maria blinked back tears. Over the next few weeks, something shifted in the Morrison household. Daniel started working from home twice a week. He attended Lily's therapy sessions. He listened when she talked about her fears instead of brushing them aside with promises of vacations or new gadgets. And he did something else. Through his company's foundation, Daniel launched a program supporting immigrant women in Canada who were escaping abusive relationships. Legal assistance, housing support, job placement. He named it Lily's Light. At the small launch event in downtown Toronto, he stood at the podium, his voice steady but emotional. "I built my wealth believing money could solve everything," he said. "But it took a woman with nothing but courage to show me what real strength looks like." Maria stood in the crowd, holding Lily's hand. Months later, Lily made progress her doctors hadn't predicted. She could lift her arm higher. She smiled more easily. Her anxiety attacks became less frequent. Love and safety had done what money alone never could. One snowy evening, as they watched the first flakes fall outside their window, Lily turned to her father. "Daddy," she said, "are we rich?" Daniel looked at Maria, who was helping hang holiday lights across the living room. "Yes," he replied softly. "But not because of the bank." He realized then that the security camera footage that once filled him with suspicion had actually revealed a truth he desperately needed to see. Protection doesn't always come from power. Sometimes it comes from quiet sacrifice. From someone who knows what fear feels like and chooses to stand in front of it anyway. In protecting Lily, Maria had unknowingly protected Daniel too, from becoming a stranger in his own daughter's life. And in the end, the millionaire didn't just discover the truth about his maid. He discovered the truth about himself.